Hey everybody, this is Roy Cannaday and back with another part of my top 100. This part is the bottom half, or the last part of the bottom half, like 60 through 51. So about to get into the second half of the list. But yeah, all of these games are still extremely exciting, and these are all games that I love to pull out and just play with a bunch of different groups of people. But let's get right into it. So my number 60 here is Marvel Splendor. And I know we joke a bunch about Marvel Splendor just being kind of funny, the fact that like they threw Marvel IP on Splendor, but I do like seeing the Marvel characters, and this is one of the first games that I played with my girlfriend that really clicked for her. And just the combos of Splendor, you know, being able to collect those gems to be able to get cards more easily, and once you have more cards, then you get more and more cards, and trying to figure out the efficiency of the order to do those things in. It's always a lot of fun, and the Marvel version has the fact that you need all the different colors and then get one of the time stone gems and then be able to get your 16 points to snap and win the game. But yeah, I really enjoy Marvel Splendor, and it is a quick little combo building game, engine building game. It's a lot of fun to play. My number 59 is a whole series of games, but my favorite on this list is probably Jaws of the Lion for Gloomhaven. This is encompassing all of Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, and Jaws of the Lion all together. I really enjoy Gloomhaven. I know some people probably have it higher up on their list. I just enjoy the dungeon crawl aspect of it and the fact that Jaws of the Lion added in those boards so that way you don't have to go grab through all the tiles. I do feel for me like it's hard for me to get campaign games to the table a lot. I do feel like Gloomhaven is a bit grindy when it comes to trying to level up your characters and stuff like that. I really enjoy progression in games. It's a lot quicker, can get a lot more bang for your buck as far as time goes. But the mechanics for Gloomhaven and the teamwork and trying to figure out when to time those cards just right, defeating all the monsters, exploring dungeons, going through amazing story. It's always a blast to play any version of Gloomhaven, and that is why it's on my top 100. My number 58 is a gigantic game. Some might say essential. I wouldn't say that, but it's a gigantic game called Cthulhu Wars. Cthulhu Wars has all of these gigantic epic monsters that you're going around, and it has a system that feels very similar to Blood Rage, the Rage system sort of thing, but it has these different points that you're using to be able to bring your units out. You're basically controlling different areas of the board. Each different, basically old great one or whatever, plays differently, has different objectives. You have all these different things you're trying to do to flip over and gain more power and win the game. It just feels very asymmetrical, but also still kind of like streamlined in a lot of ways. The fact that you're just getting units out on the board, controlling more areas, and that's going to be able to allow you to upgrade things even better. Anyway, I've had a blast with Cthulhu Wars. This is a game that I need to get back to the table again because it's been a little bit since I played it. I got rid of my copy a while back, but I know we have it in the library here. But Cthulhu Wars is always a crazy epic game to play. My number 57, sticking with the Cthulhu mythos, this is Eldritch Horror. Eldritch Horror is a cooperative game that kind of feels almost like Indiana Jones as you're running around the map, uncovering all sorts of crazy mysteries. Sometimes it feels like the game is playing you with the different events and things that can happen, but it is interesting to try to take out those different mythoses and be able to do the missions together as a team. One thing I love about this game is as the game goes along, it feels like you upgrade your character more and more and more. You get like stat upgrades if you have expansions, and then you're getting a bunch of different items, and then trying to figure out how to utilize that to mitigate all the randomness and luck that's in the game. There's tons of that. I play this game a ton with my dad. I played it solo. I played it with my friends. This is just one of those games that it's still a fond memory, and it's still a lot of fun. Like I will still bring this out. Like if my dad like puts it up, which I mean, I think we had within the last year, just sets it up, we'll play a game of this. Last time I played, I remember we got slaughtered in the game, but it's still a lot of fun to play, and there is so much content for this game when you have all the expansions, which I do. It's almost overwhelming how much I have for the game, but it's still fun to play and get through. This is one that I feel like I should really bring out more and try with my family, just because it's cooperative, and they're getting to the age where this sort of thing might work. My son is getting a lot better at reading cards and things like that, so he might find this really exciting. So Eldritch Horror is one that I'll probably have to play again over the summer, and it's on my top 100. My number 56 here is Seventh Continent. Seventh Continent is this exploration survival game where you're trying to go through and trying to do your different, I guess they're different curses is what they're called in the game, but there's different curses that you're playing against, trying to figure out where you're going to go on the map. I love the fact that you have these square tiles that kind of like play out and just create this gigantic map as you're playing along, trying to figure out where you need to go. And another thing I love about this game is the ability to do the skill checks in it is you're going to be flipping cards from a deck, trying to get different stars to be able to complete those things. But that deck, if it runs out, you have to use food to replenish it. If it runs all the way out, then you have to replace it again, flip it over, and then if a certain card comes up, then you just lose the game. So you're very much trying to not starve to death, but also as those cards come up, you get to keep some of them and build those cards, add different things to help you mitigate stuff, help you have different effects and things like that. Seventh Continent is a very interesting game. It's a very long game. I played through some of the curses. It takes like 40 hours to get through it here and there. And we do sometimes fudge the rules a little bit and be like, no, we're not necessarily dead, or we have a little bit more food, just so that way we can get that flavor and that story. I'm definitely excited for 7th Citadel coming out. Hopefully that streamlines a little bit more and helps us get more of that action and adventure. Anyway, 7th Continent, my number 56. My number 55 is Psy. This is a grandiose game from Stonemaier Games where you have your mechs running, or your mechs aren't really running around. Your mechs are helping you get across the thing. I wish they were running around. But you have those quick, snappy turns of being able to upgrade your little side civilization. You're trying to get to the middle in the little factory or whatever it is there. You're trying to gain stars to win the game. I really enjoy the combat in this game because it has that deterministic dial combat that feels reminiscent of the old Dune game. I love that style combat in games as well. And it's just interesting to try to get your reputation stars, get all of your different stuff to win inside. So it is a very beloved game. A lot of people know what it is, and that's why it's in my top 100. My number 54 is a game that I really need to get back to the table again, and this is Dwellings of Eldervale. I really enjoy Dwellings of Eldervale, playing through it, just all the different ways you can kind of upgrade your faction and then try to get out on the board. One of the things I like is even if you lose in combat, you still get swords and things like that, which can be the item, the tokens you need to be able to do other things. And then you have these big monsters that are moving around that you can actually fight in combat. I've definitely enjoyed Dwellings of Eldervale, and one that I really need to dig into even more. It's just one of those giant epic games. I have some of these big epic games that are lower on my list just because I haven't played them as much as I'd love to, but I know that I love and enjoy them. My number 54 is a game that I really need to get back to the table again, and this is Dwellings of Eldervale. I really enjoy Dwellings of Eldervale, playing through it, just all the different ways you can kind of upgrade your faction and then try to get out on the board. One of the things I like is even if you lose in combat, you still get swords and things like that, which can be the item, the tokens you need to be able to do other things. And then you have these big monsters that are moving around that you can actually fight in combat. I've definitely enjoyed Dwellings of Eldervale, and one that I really need to dig into even more. It's just one of those giant epic games. I have some of these big epic games that are lower on my list just because I haven't played them as much as I'd love to, but I know that I love and enjoy them, and that is Dwellings of Eldervale, my 54. My number 53 is a gigantic cooperative game with a gigantic mechanical twisting, turning, eerie tower that is Return to Dark Tower. Return to Dark Tower is an app-assisted game, but it's also a gigantic tower-assisted game where you are playing the game, trying to avoid corruption in the land. You're going to be dropping skulls into this tower that's going to turn and whirl, and doors are going to come off at different times, and skulls are going to fall out in the different territories, and you have to run around, try to clean that up, which feels like cleaning up like disease and pandemic. But then you also have these like missions of being able to like go underground, and you're using an app trying to go through different caves or battling guys and trying to select the right cards to be able to knock guys out. You're building up your warriors and your spirit and trying to take things on. This is a great cooperative game, and it's a lot of fun. I played it with the Yees, I played it with my girlfriend as well, and I played it just several different times. I played with Justin Jacobson, who runs Restoration Games. I've just had a lot of fun with Return to Dark Tower, and it's a great cooperative game. Even if it is lavish and expensive, it's still a lot of fun to play. My number 52 is a much lighter game, and it's a game that actually has much less decisions in it. The only decision you really have is, are you going to go further in or are you going to leave? This is Ink and Gold. This is a great party game that's kind of press your luck, like pure press your luck, basically. Like, how far can you go? And then also trying to see and like bluff the other players a little bit, because if you're going further in, you always split the treasure if you're in there with someone else. But if you leave, you'll take any odd number treasure that was kind of left behind that wasn't able to be split evenly among the players. So sometimes there's a lot of treasure behind you on the path that you want to try to steal and get. Also, there are like artifacts that'll be left behind that you can only take if you leave alone. And then also, if you stay in the dungeon for the longest time, if you're there by yourself, then you can just get every bit of the treasure for each card you open up. But if two of the same monster or hazard pop up, then you're knocked out and you don't get anything. So trying to figure out when to leave at the right time and just watching people press their luck to insane levels is just a blast in Ink and Gold. And it plays at high player counts very quickly. So Ink and Gold is a lot of fun. My number 51 is a great area control game, a game that I feel like doesn't even get enough love. I think this game is a blast to play, and this is Nexus Ops. This is a game of basically trying to complete different objectives on cards, and the objectives will be like, oh, control this kind of area, or oh, take out this kind of creature, and it very much incentivizes getting into combat and interacting with the other players. But also you have this simple thing of being able to gather resources each turn and choose which sort of units you want to build. Different units are going to have different abilities depending on the terrain type, and some are going to be stronger against others. And it's just this really simple game that it just comes together so well. It just feels so tight and so streamlined, just the way that it works for an area control game. And this is an older like Avalon Hill game that I know Fantasy Flight redid. I had the Avalon Hill version for the longest time with these like super bright, like different like alien creatures and things like that you're battling against. Also, if you get to the middle, you get like these extra cards and things like that, and everybody's battling over the middle, and sometimes maybe objectives will want you to have that space as well. But yeah, I've had a blast playing Nexus Ops, and it is an amazing game that if you haven't tried and you enjoy area control games at all, definitely try out Nexus Ops. Anyway, this has been another section of my top 100. I hope you've enjoyed us here. We're having a blast doing all of these. It's just awesome to be able to share a little bit of the games we love. I know sometimes these fluctuate around up or down. Maybe sometimes you'll see games come on the list or come off the list depending on the person. But I haven't had too many crazy new things, I don't think, on this section of the list, but we'll see as we get higher and higher what games might have slipped onto my top 100. Anyway, I've been Roy Cannaday. Thanks so much for joining me. Make sure to comment down below which games you're excited about playing, and I'll see you on the next one.